Oh hey there lads, my name is Lossy, and today I'd like to take a look at Battlefield 5 and really assess what sort of state the game is in today. Where we've come from, but more importantly, where DICE is taking the franchise in the coming months. In the background I have some Marita gameplay running. This capture was made possible by the EA Game Changer network. EA were kind enough to fly me out to EA Play this year and allow me to record the new content for Battlefield 5. It was my favourite round of the play session. I squatted up with Westy and we had some really fun moments throughout, so do enjoy. But let's move on to the topic at hand. With Battlefield 5, we all know the story so far. The poor reveal led on to the even worse marketing campaign over the summer months. This included the underwhelming announcements at EA Play and the dreaded silence leading up to Gamescom in August. Now, while things weren't too bad for those who actually attended EA Play last year, as they got to get hands-on with Battlefield 5, as a whole, the event lacked any sort of major announcement, aside from
It's Royale.
But even that, we weren't shown any footage or even a trailer. The same applied to standard multiplayer. Narvik was shown, and I was fortunate enough to even share my own gameplay. But again, that's one map, and in a community that were out for blood, it just wasn't enough. Once August came around, the community just wanted to see something, anything. There was virtually radio silence over those few summer months. Of course, we had the playable alpha at the end of June, but once again it didn't show anything new and wasn't available for everyone. Battlefield 5 is so new, it has introduced so many features and mechanics that sure, we've gotten used to for the most part, but back in June of last year, we were left with far more questions than answers. Attrition, customization, the live service. It was a time when DICE and EA needed to be pumping out trailers and gameplay. Developer discussions where they could talk freely about anything. After that reveal, DICE were on the defense, and for me, thanks to hindsight, this period from June to August is when DICE should have been filling the forums and YouTube sub-boxes with Battlefield 5. Be it directly, or through content creators like myself. Unfortunately, that wasn't done, and what transpired was a very slow few months that really impacted the game's reputation. It wasn't all doom and gloom, however, as things started to turn around in August. We got a kick-ass trailer at Gamescom, a look at a brand new map, Rotterdam, and generally, things seemed as if they'd turned a corner. New weapons were usable, new vehicles, and then of course in September, everyone got the chance to see how the new game played as the public beta went live. As weird as it is to say, morale was much higher and excitement for the launch in October was picking up once again. In the following months though, things went from good to bad. The game was delayed for a month to a November release. There were issues with the deluxe edition, bugs plagued multiplayer, and it turned out not everyone was very happy with the amount of actual playable content either. I'm not saying it was a terrible launch though. I think the game launched in a pretty stable form. I mean, yes, there were bugs, but if you compare it to past titles, it really was quite an okay launch. Since then, while there has been plenty of content added, overall I think it's the general consensus that not enough has been done. Panzerstorm was and still is a fantastic map in my opinion, even as an infantry player. I mean, the night map variant is probably one of my favourite experiences in Battlefield 5 so far. But one map in that long a time period just isn't good enough. That isn't to mention the absurd number of times I've come home from work to read on Twitter that DICE has done something mental. Something that may be a good idea according to the data, but completely contrasts what the core community actually want. For example, I'm all for modes, Conquest, Rush, Frontlines, they all offer some unique experience. But removing a fan favourite mode in favour of something like Grind or Fortress is just madness to me. The armory, again, is usually a source of some controversy. The elite kits, the battlefield currency, the newly added epic bundles too. While this stuff might work for other games, and yes, in theory it should work for Battlefield, I just don't think they have a real place in Battlefield 5 specifically. There's no shortage of things to complain about when it comes to Battlefield 5, and DICE and EA know that. I've already spent far too long yammering on about it, so let's move on. We can confidently say now that DICE are in a position to work on actual content, rather than new mode variants and bug fixes, the likes of which we've been seeing since launch. This is evident by looking at the past few updates to the game. Firestorm was the headline for this chapter, and Mercury has only recently joined the server browser. As a bit of a side note, I've said it before and I'll continue to say it, I enjoy the core game, the gunplay, the movement. It's what keeps Battlefield 5 enjoyable for me. I don't necessarily need new maps or weapons every few weeks for me to enjoy the game, but of course that cannot be said for everyone. In an age of gaming where Fortnite is releasing new content almost every week, players have become entitled, and in my opinion, people now expect developers to crunch and deliver an outlandish amount of content in a very short amount of time. The truth is though, is that different games require a different amount of work, and this is evident when it comes to Battlefield 5. A map, for example, can't just be thrown together in a matter of weeks. It takes several months for it to be made public. Now, I'm not trying to justify this long wait we've had to sit through. The past 6 months or so have been straining on Battlefield players to say the least, and there's no denying that. But I only think it's fair that we acknowledge the amount of work that needs to go into a game like Battlefield 5 before we start tearing developers a new one. It's a tricky topic though, because on one hand, I think Battlefield 5 should have had more time and love, with more content planned and released over the past 6 months. But at the same time, I can see why that wasn't possible, and why only now we are starting to see proper updates. Moving on though, where are we going next? Well, at EA Play we were shown the next roadmap for the game, which like always got opinions flowing in. Some are glad to see an update for the game, some hate the idea of waiting so long for content, and then some just don't care anymore. Personally, after seeing the roadmap, I was frankly impressed. I was impressed by the sheer number of maps coming, along with the continuous support through patches, not to mention the Tides of War assignments and new weapons that'll be awarded throughout. It's the fact that DICE are committed to maintaining Battlefield 5 is what keeps me hopeful for the future of this game. It isn't the case of the devs delivering the game and then moving on to the next one. It's more that the devs had a vision of what they want Battlefield 5 to be, and from the look of this roadmap, it appears as though that vision is being worked on right now. Do I wish all of this was here from the get-go? Yes, of course. But like I said, what's done is done. All we can do now is either give up on this game or be excited for the future of it. I'm the latter. We have a long way to go before we're there though. The Pacific isn't arriving until the end of this year, which means we have plenty of time for DICE to surprise us, to disappoint us, but most importantly, more time to rack up even more company coins. Seriously DICE, let us buy stuff with the company coins. It's insane that we can't. We have Al Sundan releasing just next week, next Thursday to be exact, and I'm very excited for that. While again it's a very vehicle focused map, I had a lot of fun playing and streaming this map at EA Play, and I can't wait to hop on again. Coming after that, in July we have Marita, the map shown in the gameplay here. Infantry madness, pretty damn messy, but a fantastic addition. I think generally this was the favourite out of the 3 maps we played at EA Play. That rank increase is coming in August, along with 2 smaller infantry maps, and then private games in September. October is when things really start to pick up though, with Operation Underground, and then the Pacific kicking off in autumn. New weapons throughout all of this, along with plenty of other content. It's the fact that the live service doesn't end there is what gets me even more excited. I know it's easy to hate this game, believe me, I've taken breaks from making videos solely because I'm too frustrated by either the game or even the community sometimes. But personally, and this is personal since it all depends on you as a person, I think Battlefield 5 is finally coming out of the woods. It hasn't quite reached it yet, but I think over the next couple of months, we'll see Battlefield turn into something memorable. But anyway, Thank you lads for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, leave it a like, I'd really appreciate that, or a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe for more content from me, but until the next one, I'll see you lads later.